Sunday. And then it is the All-Star break. And as you learned yesterday, there are a couple of participants for the Colorado Rockies. The guy on the hill, Jason Marquis, and the guy in right field, Brad Hopp. So Marquis getting loose, and here's the lineup that he will face, presented by first Maniaca and then Southwest Airlines. Up top, a guy we saw recently with the Pittsburgh Pirates, Nyjer Morgan, came in a trade recently. Nick Johnson's always been a quality hitter. He's at 293. Ryan Zimmerman, an all-star. Adam Dunn, you know his resume. Josh Willingham, the former Marlin. He's got a lot of power. Christian Guzman having another good year offensively. Josh Bard out of Cherry Creek High School. Ronnie Belliard, a former Rocky, not playing on a regular basis, but he can swing the bat. Don't be fooled by that 185 average. And then Stammen, the pitcher. Let's take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on Jason Marquis.
Well, we're all familiar with what he does velocity-wise, 88 to 93, and he's going to stay way down here below the knees all the way through this ball game. Looking at some interesting numbers, with his record right now, 10-5, he has a chance to equal his mark before the break. In 06, he was 11-6 the last couple of years, 6-5, 6-5. In his career, 21 games above 500. With a 420 earned run average. Impressive. Last start, 66 of 86 pitches were strikes, 26 of 29 first pitch strikes.
Now here are the gloves behind Marquis tonight. Gonzalez, Fowler, and Hopp. They might not be as busy as these four guys in the infield. Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki, Clint Farmas, Todd Helton, Chris Iannetta had yesterday off while Yorvi Torrealba did the catching. You talk about that 86-pitch jam praised by Marquis against the Dodgers. It's the second fewest pitches utilized in a complete game this year to Colorado's Luke Hochevar for the Kansas City Royals, who needed 80 pitches on June 12th to beat the Reds 4-1.
Now, if this guy at the plate looks familiar to you folks, he should. He was just in with the Pittsburgh Pirates and had a pretty good series against the Colorado Rockies. 4 National League scouts told me they had him at 365 from the left side of the plate going on a ground ball. That's flying.
That's in there for a strike. Angel Hernandez is calling balls and strikes tonight. Randy Marsh, the crew chief, is at first. Marvin Hudson at second. Lance Barksdale is at third. Lance Barksdale, you know, we see him, you know, probably once every 3 or 4 weeks. This is a little comebacker to Marquis. What a perfect name for an umpire.
Barksdale.
Yeah.
You bet. Well, let's take a look at the Bird Automotive keys to this ball game tonight. And here's something I think that could be fairly important to this ball club. The defensive side of things with Marquis on the mound. Start over. This is the right guy after losing 2 of 3 to Arizona. On the mound and the defense, particularly inside the infield. These 4 guys are going to be busy with Marquis on the mound. If they're not, that's not a very good night for our starting pitcher.
Well, I always look at it as a good sign when the ball gets topped out to the pitcher. It's a pretty good indication that Marquis has the good sinker tonight. Nick Johnson takes a strike. Battled some injuries the last couple of years, but when he is right, he's a good hitter. He's a professional hitter.
But he has the long ball threat. He only has 5 home runs now, but when he was healthy prior, even look at the Yankee days and then his move here in the very beginning, a guy that could hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Quickly a 2-strike count on Nick Johnson. And this ball in the air, center field, it's well hit. Fowler going back, and he will find it in the shadows. He flipped the sunglasses down, and Nick Johnson is gone. That'll bring up Ryan Zimmerman, who will be going to St. Louis in 8 days for the All-Star game. It'll be his first appearance in the Midsummer Classic. He's a two-way player. Now, we use that term in high school to talk about football players. Used to be able to talk about it collegiately with guys who play both ways. What I mean by that is Zimmerman's a big threat offensively. He's an outstanding defender, George.
He really is a very good defender, and I think with the field in Washington, there's been some issues with that infield because he has 12 errors right now. That's high for him. You think about it, Stewart only has 6 for the Rockies, playing regularly now.
And a right side ground ball. Barmas was swung up the middle, and it was a really long run. He will be at first now. Zimmerman with an infield hit.
Well, and that's just an accident. I mean, because the ball's trying to be on the outer half of the plates where Iannetta's setting up. The ball ran back to the middle, so basically jammed him. If the ball's away and you take a little velocity off the sinker, 9 out of 10 times you're going to roll over on the ball. So in a Hyundai camp, See, Barmer's make a valiant effort, just couldn't get to the baseball.
Now, this is the guy that you got to be careful with. Adam Dunn. And that fastball is just a tad inside. 22 home runs. He's driven in 59. He signed a 2-year deal. He finished last year with Arizona. 2-year deal at $10 million a year. And he has not disappointed. Offense has really not been the problem. The Rockies have the shift on. The bullpen and the youth of their starting rotation, and their defense has let them down.
Well, you look around at the errors in the outfield just alone. Dunn has 8. Willingham with 4. That's a high number for the outfield. The left side of the infield with 22 errors combined. So, I mean, you're going to suffer anytime you put a very young rotation out at the big league level until they get their feet wet.
That ball cuts inside. 2-1 on Dunn. Now, over the weekend, he hit a home run against Atlanta. It was his 300th career home run. It took him 4,145 at bats to get there. That is the 5th fewest at bats to get to 300 home runs in the history of the game.
And the all-time home run hit leader, you're thinking about Barry Bonds. His name not on that list. So it tells you the kind of power this kid has and what he does at the plate. It's always good whenever you're mentioned with Babe Ruth, McGuire, Kiner, Killebrew.
Yeah, here's the thing though, fewest at bats per homer. Now if you do it another way, he's 5th on that list behind, and this ball is in the air to shallow right field. Hop makes the catch. He's 5th on that list. McGuire, Ruth, Bonds, and Tomey ahead of him. Suffice it to say, he is a big-time home run hitter. And 11. Here's the Southwest batting order. Dexter Fowler leading off. Clint Barmes in the 2-hole. Todd Helton, Brad Hoff, Troy Tulowitzki hit his 13th home run yesterday. Came off Dan Herron, Ian Stewart, Chris Iannetta, Carlos Gonzalez, and then Jason Marquis. And Craig Stammen is on the hill. He will not overwhelm you with his fastball. He's a sinker ball specialist, 1 and 3 of the 5.44 ERA, and that pitch is down low.
Well, a college sign out of Dayton University, the 6'3", 210-pounder. You're right. Everything about average. Tries to keep the ball down in the strike zone, keep everything very quiet. Fastball at 89. Retired 81% of the leadoff men, trying to stop and not allow those great big innings. The one thing about it with the running game, he's fairly quick. 1.18 to 1.25. That's quick to the plate to give their catcher an opportunity, and Josh Bard.
Well, he's not a punch-out guy, George, and guys like that where the ball's in play, they better mind the running game.
Well, they should, but again, how many punch-out guys are there anymore? I mean, there's more contact guys, and you look at the Rockies now. I mean, 2 guys average a strikeout per inning.
You know, it's funny you say that, and yet in the Rockies division, it's 3-2. there are a number of guys that can run up the punch outs.
Well,
San Francisco, Lincecum and Kane come to mind. Randy Johnson when he's on. Barry Zito when he has the curveball going. Billingsley and the Kershaw.
Well, you've named.
Oh, strike three. Angel Hernandez calls out Dexter Fowler.
Not to be in that situation, but out of you've named 8 or 9 guys out of about 330 pitchers at the big league level. Most got a lot more contact guys. I know what you're saying. 88-93 with a hard sink. Curveball 76 to 81. The slider at 81-84. Changeup 76 to 82. See his record at 1-3. He's going to have to work the fastball down and low, as Drew talked about, that hard sinker down and in, and keep the slider away from the right-handed power bats.
You're talking about punch outs. Dexter gets called out. I was referring, George, just to the National League West. That you're right.
What is it? 7 of 12 guys on the All-Star team are out of the West.
Yeah, it's a pitching-heavy division.
But it is what we thought it would be a year ago.
Sound like Denny Green. They are who we thought they were. 0-2 on Barnes.
You know, I had to think who Denny Green was for a little while there.
This is a base hit to right. Nice job by Barnes as Stammen got an 0-2 pitch up. So the Rockies with a runner aboard for Todd Helton. Let's take a look at the Nats defensively. Adam Dunn in left. Some would call him a DH. Nigel Morgan's got to cover a lot of ground. Josh Willingham is in right. Zimmerman and Guzman on the left side. Ronnie Belliard and Nick Johnson on the right side. Josh Bard is behind the plate. You know, it's a big league team, obviously, George, but it's not the best defensive team ever assembled.
Well, we talked a little bit about that a minute ago. I mean, 22 errors on the left side.
Their fielding percentage of .976 last at baseball. Line drive left center field. Run, baby, run. All the way to the wall. Barmes will come home. Helton into second with yet another double. RBI number 55 for Todd. And the Rockies break on top 1-0.
Well, let's take a look at this pitch on the Hyundai cam coming into Todd Helton. Sinker rotation going down and away from him. Just squared up perfectly by Todd Helton to take it to the opposite field in left center. Remember, Dunn, big man, doesn't run that well. He's got to give chase into the outfield to get this ball down. Morgan in center does run well, but not quick enough to get Clint Barmes at the plate.
Double number 494 for Helton. So sometime you assume either later on this homestand, that'd be a big week, or right after the All-Star break, he'll have 500 doubles. And another baseball added to his trophy case. Earlier this year, he added the baseball signifying his 2000th hit. Brad Hopp at the plate. He has 56 RBIs. Tonight, folks, is game number 82, so it is literally now the second half of the season. That fastball up and in. Everybody always counts the second half after the All-Star break. We understand that, but numerically, today begins the second half. Two balls and a strike. So the Rockies are 42-39 through the first 81 games. Last year, they were 32-49, so a significant difference. Here's one of the things that gets me excited, George. The Rockies are right there with the Phillies, the highest scoring team in the National League, yet they're 9th in batting average. That's going to go up. The Rockies, their lineup suggests, with guys hitting below their norm, it suggests that number is going to rise. Last year, they hit 263. That's the worst year they ever had, and they're below that right now.
Yeah, they are below that right now. You got a feeling that average has to jump up into that 270, 271 range, and particularly guys like Tulowitzki, Iannetta. Those are the guys I think that's going to make the jump more than anything, because they haven't even had a hot streak yet.
Fouled off. I'll throw another name out there, Frazier. Ian Stewart's hitting 217, but now he's playing on a regular basis, typically 5 days a week. His average, he's not a 217 hitter.
No, but you know, if he hits 250, 260, and all of a sudden you got 30 bombs and 90 RBIs, pretty happy guy. Plus the way he's played third base for the Rockies.
Yeah. Helton at second. Outfield backed up with Brad Hopp at the plate. Here's the 2-2. And Brad wastes that. Runners in scoring position. Gorgeous numbers, a 363 average for Hop. Three and two. Tulowitzki's on deck. Helton just doubled in Barmes. It was career RBI number 1171, tied for 206th all time with Jeff Conine, Jimmy Dykes, and your old teammate Keith Hernandez.
Very good company.
Yeah, that's high. Ball four. So Hop joins the party on base, and that'll bring up Tulowitzki. A reminder that when the Rockies score 7 or more runs, go to your participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 in the afternoon and get 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Only one order per customer.
Well, with traffic on, he's not been very good. 350 average the opposition has had, so an opportunity with a couple of guys on for the Rockies to do a little more damage.
Tulo had the home run yesterday against Dan Herring. At the time, it gave the Rockies a 3-0 lead. Unfortunately, they would fall 4-3. This ball is a double play ball. There's one, and there's two. In the inning, the Rockies get a couple of hits and a run to get an early lead on the Nationals. It'll be Josh Willingham, Christian Guzman, and Josh Bard. Let's send it down to Mark Stott with tonight's Mike Shaw Auto Update.
Thank you very much, Drew. This time last year, Dexter Fowler was playing in Tulsa with the Drillers in AA baseball, getting ready to go to Beijing, China to be part of Team USA in the Summer Olympics. Team USA's hitting coach, none other than Rick Eckstein. Yes, the brother of David, who did play at Florida. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I asked him if he was surprised that here's Dexter Fowler now starting in center field for the Rockies less than a year later. As this is grounded to third, Stewart will scoop it up, and one out here in the second. He said, no, not at all. He's got all the skills. He did say they had to work on that split grip and, of course, helping him hone his skills as a switch hitter, but he said that he's got all the tools. He's ready to go. And an interesting story from Rick Eckstein. I said, how'd you get involved with Team USA? Well, he said he was with this Expos Nationals organization in spring training, walked back to get a stopwatch from one of the other coaches, and met Paul Seiler, who was there from Team USA, and he just said, how do I get involved with you guys? Gave him his email. And 4 months later, contacted him. Next thing you know, he's coaching over in the Netherlands, meets Davey Johnson, hits it off with him, and then he's with Team USA, and now he's the Nationals hitting coach, but he had many flattering things to say about Dexter Fowler, guys.
That's easy to do, have flattering things to say about Dexter Fowler, who on cue gets a fly ball from Christian Guzman, 2 outs.
Well, we talked a little bit yesterday about the defensive alignment of the Rockies and what they have done in the infield. So You think back, when was the last time you saw Tulowitzki have to go really over deep into the hole and make a jump throw? It's been a while, and there's a reason for that. What they have done is move Stewart off of the line. So what's that do? It makes it much easier for him to cover and cut balls off that are coming in this direction. And the same thing with Clint Barmas. They've bunched the infield. And that allows people now within the infield to cut a lot of balls off. You don't have to wait on Tulowitzki to make a big dive on a ball. That's why you're seeing Barmas a lot of times with right-handed hitters will shade towards the second base side. He'll get a little closer to second base, knocking off an awful lot of those baseballs hit back up the middle.
2 outs. Josh Bard steps up. And it's quickly a 2-strike count on Bard.
By the way, I thought this was interesting. Will the next Cy Young come out of the West? Why not? The last 10 have. You know, 8 of the last 10 have come out of the National League West. So, I mean, why wouldn't you think so? Randy did it. He was in '99, Randy Johnson. And by the way, after looking at that throw he made yesterday, it's going to be, he may be done for a while with the Giants on a shoulder strain. What happened first was swinging the bat.
Yeah, it did happen at the plate. Here's the 0-2 to Josh Bard. Swung on and missed. Good slider. And that is all for the Nationals in the second inning. Middle of inning number 2. The Rockies lead it 1-0. Carlos Gonzalez to follow. It's turned into a marvelous night. Beautiful day today. And then the clouds came over and we got our afternoon shower out of the way about 5 o'clock. This is slowly hitting short. Christian Guzman will throw out Ian Stewart.
Well, before we went to break, I talked to 8 of the last 10 Cy Young Awards winners. Started 03 was Gagne, 04 Clemens, and then 05 Carpenter, 06 Webb, 07 Peavy, and then last year Lincecum. And he's on track to do another one with all of his strikeouts and their ball club and doing the things that they have done and accomplished. But again, you got to look at Wakefield in the American League, what he's done with Halladay if he gets healthy. That's going to be fun over there. Greinke.
Yeah, well,
Sluey's done a nice job.
That will be an interesting race. Chris Iannetta, 231, 10 home runs, 28 driven in. Don Baylor talking before the ball game about Iannetta, trying to get him going again. Seems like every time he's gotten in a good groove, he gets hurt. Had the hamstring injury when he was hitting a pretty good stride. 2-strike count for Iannetta. And this ball's hit well to right field. But Willingham's going to have a play.
All right, Doug the weatherman, I got to ask you a question. Because you're Doug everything else, so now you're the weatherman. Do you think, there's been a couple of balls hit early in this game I thought were hit pretty well. Do you think because of the rain, humidity, a little heaviness in the air that the ball's not carrying? Doug's saying a little rain later maybe, so there's a little humidity in the air. There's a couple of balls hit, like that line drive in left center a minute ago, but Helton's ball took off pretty good.
Yeah, and you know what, though? As Carlos Gonzalez steps up, he takes strike one. You and I watched the Rockies take BP. Helton and Hop were hitting the ball in the second deck. I mean, the ball was flying. It was before the rain. Yeah, good point. Pretty good curveball there, displayed by Stammen. Gonzalez stays off it, which is a good sign, because a couple days ago he's firing at that also.
He's kind of firing at everything. And just to kind of get that strike zone settled back down again.
This ball's hit pretty well left center field. Nyjer Morgan has a long run, and he's going to get there. And a week ago, when he's played for the Pirates and they had Elijah Dukes in center field, that's a double or a triple for Carlos Gonzalez. Good AB, bad result, 1-0. For only $179 a month. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex. Find what you need when you need it and print online at DexKnows.com. And by the Great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. Jason Marquis gave up an infield single in the first with 2 outs to Ryan Zimmerman. He's retired 4 straight since then. It'll be 8-9-1 in the Washington lineup. Ronnie Belliard, Craig Stammen, and then Nyjer Morgan. The Nationals have won 2 in a row. They got very good pitching performances from Scott Olson and John Lannon. Paired their left-handers the last 2 days, beating the Atlanta Braves. They keep remaking their roster, George. Of course, their general manager, Jim Bowden, who started the year, is no longer their general manager. This is hard on the ground to second. Good pickup by Barnes, and Belliard is retired.
Well, I'd like to remind the Rockies fans about the Green Pack. You can really help out the environment while enjoying a day at the ballpark. You get 2 tickets for $20 and $5 of each pack sold during going to the Wood for Wood tree planting program. Available during the July Green Week. That is July 5th through July 12th. So go to ColoradoRockies.com to purchase today. That's going on right now.
Strike one on Stammen. He's done some good things with the bat. He's hitting 300.
Small school, Dayton University, probably a guy that's going to be playing both ways while there.
Marquis lobs it to first. 2 gone. Well, first time through the lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4 ground balls, a strikeout, an infield hit, and 3 fly balls. So a very good tour through the lineup the first time by Jason Marquis. Nyjer Morgan now steps up, and Morgan had a comebacker his first time.
Now, the thing impressive about Jason Marquis, when he does get 2 outs, he can close out innings. He may give up a hit, may walk a guy, but he figures out a way to get out of the inning. Very rarely, only twice this year, do you see a bunch of crooked numbers go on the board in an inning.
1-0 on Morgan. He's been with the Nationals for 6 days. That trade with Pittsburgh, Morgan came from the Pirates and Sean Burnett came from the Pirates for Lastings, Milledge, and Joel Hanrahan. Milledge, George, was one of the guys they were going to build around. I mean, he's on the cover of their media guide along with Adam Dunn, Ryan Zimmerman, and Scott Olson. Ball 4. So Marquis on 4 pitches walks the very quick Nyjer Morgan, who now visits with a guy who can steal bases. First base coach Marquise Grissom. He was a darn good player.
You know what I think's a neat story about him? And you know this. I'm not sure the fans at home, or they probably know it, but maybe don't remember it. Is it 14 brothers and sisters or 16? I think it's 14 or anyway, it's a lot of brothers and sisters. Folks, this guy, Marquis Grissom, has bought every one of them a home, has paid for it, does a tremendous amount of work for underprivileged kids throughout the United States. And he has taken care of his family.
There goes Morgan. Ionetta's throw is on the bag, but Morgan got an enormous jump. So Morgan in scoring position.
21st stolen base for Morgan in a ball game to even to count 1-1. The ball came into Ionetta, and then a little bit of an exchange problem out of the glove, but yet a pretty good throw as you look on the Hyundai cam coming in. Ball just a tad late behind the hands of Morgan going into second base.
1-1 on Nick Johnson out of that open stance. Johnson's been struggling his last 11 games, just 5 for 40. That dropped his average from 321 into the 290s. Daylight play, and Morgan dives back in. That's a strike, 1-2. Johnson last year had only 109 at bats. Was out all of 07 as well. Last year he had a right wrist injury that required surgery. The last time he had 500 at bats was 2006. And he had 290 with 23 home runs. Drove in 77. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scrappy Nyjer Morgan's at second base. 2 outs, the 2-2, and it's rolled foul. Rockies have dominated against the Nationals of late. They've won 12 of the last 15 played between the two clubs. Good pitch. Morgan heads to third.
Yeah, I was waiting on that. And a lot of times when you get 2 outs, folks, defensively, after they made the 1 pick on him at second with the daylight play, the defense is going to sit. They're not going to move around a lot. And so, you know, that's why I think you put them in motion, plus the distance off of the bag that Stewart is at third base. See how far out Stewart is off of the base. So it allows, it's kind of a foot race if Morgan gets a big enough lead. Tulowitzki, the only guy that can hold him on with Barma so far into the hole.
Strike 3 on the inside corner. So Nick Johnson sent packing with the tying run at second base, middle of 3. The Rockies have the only run. Rockies, a Todd Helton double after a Clint Barmas single in the first inning provides the Rockies with the early advantage. Jason Marquis will lead it off against Craig Stammen. I was watching Marquis take batting practice today. I said to Don Baylor, I said, you know what? As much as he loves being a pitcher, he wishes he could play every single day. He said, yeah, until they start throwing the slider.
Slider and that curveball equal out a lot of guys. They start thinking about wanting to go do something else.
And Marquis hits his share into the cheap seats, too. 1 ball and 1 strike.
See, like that one right there on a change up at 81. That's probably his best pitch, is his change at 81.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Stammen. Or excuse me, Stammen on Marquis, and that's a base hit to right. Rockies' 3rd knock of the ball game, and there's a competitor on base, Jason Marquis.
By the way, history was made a little bit. The Dayton Flyers, there's only been 2 guys make it to the big leagues.
Craig Stammen and Doug Marino. Doug, wave to the crowd, Doug. That's right, 2 guys. The Dayton Flyers have made it to the big leagues. A Jersey boy goes out to Dayton, makes good, and here he is in the big leagues.
That's right.
He's been waiting for Stammen, he said, for a while. He needed company. And Doug, like a true veteran big leaguer, George, after the ball game, he hopes, Stammen loses today, but he's going to take him out to dinner.
Is he?
It's a Dayton thing. Dayton Flyer thing.
For some reason, I think he should take Doug.
No, I like the veteran taking the rookie. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dexter Fowler. And Dexter shortens up, pitch out of the zone, 2-1. Zimmerman came flying. Nick Johnson came flying. This is a 7-game road trip for the Washington Nationals. They go to Houston next. Runner going, it's fouled off. Little hit and run as Marquis was in motion. 2-2. Yeah, Jim Tracy, that's a really, I think that's a shrewd move. You have an athletic guy at first, George. You have a count of 2-1. Stammen, after watching 9 hitters come to bat, Jim Tracy, and he knows the scouting reports. Guy's a strike thrower. So, you know, he's going to feed Fowler something around the strike zone. And again, with Marquis, even though you say, well, pitcher, why do you have him in motion? He runs the bases well. It's a play that probably catches the infield off balance. I like it.
No, it is. You put people in play, and you also stay out of the double play ball. Now, the one hazard you run into, obviously, with nobody out, line drive, double play, short fly ball that's caught, double play. But it's worth the risk.
On the ground is second. Look at Marquis go, and he does a good job of sliding into Christian Guzman. I hope I don't know, I don't want to call for shots, but I hope we have a replay of how hard Marquis went to second and the intent of his slide. He plays the game full on. Not every pitcher plays like this.
No, they don't. He comes in the right area because he knows where the second shortstop's going to go to, so he comes out to the shortstop side. The ball wasn't hit that hard, but he got a perfect feed on it. But that slide by Marquis prevented a throw at all by Guzman.
And now you have, I mean, think about it. These are the small things. Now you have a flyer at first and Fowler.
A chance and an opportunity to steal a base.
And a strike. As George mentioned early on, Stammen is pretty quick to the plate.
1.18 to 1.25 so far in this game when I put the watch on it.
They pitch out 1-1. Josh Bard has caught 3 of 21 this year. And in his career, 16%.
Steve McCaddy is now the pitching coach, a long time, very successful pitcher with the Oakland A's. And this right-hander has changed the thought process of what goes on with this young National Ball Club. And to show you what I mean, when Randy St. Clair was here at the start of the year.
There goes Fowler, and the throw is in the dirt. Good job by Guzman. But Fowler has a stolen base. He's in scoring position.
16th stolen base for Dexter. Well, McCaddy came on board. Randy St. Clair, they were 14 and 46. 53 home runs, an earned run average of 567. Since then, they've gone 10 and 19 with McCaddy at the helm. An earned run average almost a run and a half less at 440. 22 home runs in 30 games. And the biggest difference is, for what I'm told, St. Clair had them throwing to a hitter's weakness, which took them away from their strengths at time. And he said, to heck with that. You go to your strength. If they beat you, they beat you.
Fowler dancing off second base.
And look at Fowler, 16 stolen bases, 4 of those have come at third base. So obviously they're alert to the fact that he's going to steal third. And with a right-handed bat up and 1 out, wouldn't be surprising.
And Barmas fouls it back, George, in your neighborhood, just short.
Never flinched.
Nice play.
Never flinched.
Nice attempted play.
Because I didn't see it.
May I remind you, up here in the booth, it's different than, you know, when you got to pop up to the mound, you pointed to one of your teammates, but you got to make the play here.
I understand fully what it's like in this booth, and I don't want one of those balls around me. I like it when they stay on the green grass and the dirt.
1-2 on Barmas. Rockies up 1-0. They're hitting in the third.
You know, if you're wondering and you look back there defensively how they're set up right now in their infield. And Dexter jumped back. And the way it works, folks, is Richie Dyer at third base has short and second. You have the pitcher. And he's the one telling you, you're okay, get off. Well, if that pitcher makes a move, that's why you saw Dexter jump.
Whoa, line drive, double play. Yeah, Barmas hit it hard. Fowler could get back to the bag. That ends the third inning. 1-0 Colorado. Zimmerman to lead off for the Nats. Who is the only player to hit 40-plus home runs in each of the last 5 seasons? Good trivia question. Ryan Zimmerman, Adam Dunn, Josh Willingham. Jason Marquis set to go. Zimmerman hit a weak ground ball to the right side, but Clint Barmas was swung up the middle. And Barmas was able to get a glove on it just to knock it down. He had a long run, and this will be an easier play for Barmas. One pitch, one out. If your windshield has any residual damage from the winter, call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, or online at safelite.com. Adam Dunn hit a fly ball to right field that Brad Hopp gathered in. Former quarterback at the University of Texas, one of the biggest men in the game, also one of the nicest guys in the game. Good buddies with Ken Griffey Jr. Jr. was healthy and going well. Pretty formidable 3-4 in that Cincinnati Red lineup in a smallish ballpark.
Well, a very small ballpark, but the ball flies terrifically. That big 1-2 punch. But obviously it was time for everybody to move on and reload with some younger players.
And they're doing it now with pitching. Dusty's got himself a decent club.
Well, Cueto didn't have a nice night tonight. 16-1. They're losing to Philadelphia. That ball game in the 7th.
George, let me amend that. They're not doing it with pitching tonight. They're
well,
not doing much anything
just one
tonight.
night. The only Philadelphia fan in the ballpark is clapping in our booth.
Yep, Sam Herniason. Hadn't seen Broad Street in about 45 years. Back when Sam lived there, they were the A's.
Sam, you knew you were coming on camera.
Yeah, look, he goes and hides. He always goes and hides. Come on, Sam. You're a handsome devil.
Let's not get
We'll
carried
find
away.
you. It's cold foul.
It's one thing to show him. We'll be calling him handsome.
I'll go to his head with it.
Huh? Did you hear about the new calendar they're going to have? All the camera guys that work on the games with us.
Oh, that'll be a big seller.
You didn't know that?
I did. 2-2. And this is pulled foul again. One of the things you have to admire about Marquis, and I think all the good pitchers have this, and that is a lack of fear. They are going to challenge even the most dangerous hitters in the game. Right now, Marquis is doing that with Dunn. He's just making sure that when he gets it inside, it's far enough inside that Dunn doesn't turn and hit it out. And that is a called strike 3. He busted him in, George, and then got a pitch away for a called strike 3.
Well, it's the right time of the ball game to be able to challenge hitters because you're just into the 4th inning. This is a hard sinker down and away that carried a lot on the plate. Did it catch enough of the plate? A little bit off. 3rd strikeout for Marquis in the ball game. And a well-positioned pitch against Dunn.
That'll bring up Josh Willingham. 9 home runs for Willingham. Some good seasons down in Florida. Got a lot of pop in his bat. Jim Tracy made an excellent point. We were discussing their lineup. I think the average fan looks and says, oh, Washington, they're awful, 24-55. He said if they're able to get pitches to hit, they can hit plenty over the wall, put up a crooked number on you, and then you're in trouble. They're not the type of team that's going to out-athlete you right now. We're single, double, single, and that's how they score the run. So, they're station to station with the exception of Niger Morgan. Tough chance for Stewart. He makes it. That was very well done by Ian Stewart to throw out Josh Willingham. Beautiful barehanded play by the Rockies' 3rd baseman. Watch again as we go to break. 1-0 Colorado. Just a little information for you, George. And it is email booth night. Go to fsninsider.com and you can email us, and we'll get to as many of your emails as possible. Become an insider today. Visit fsninsider.com. Todd Helton had an RBI double his first time up, career double 494. And he produced RBI number 55 on the year. So this is game 82. Todd's on pace to hit 18 to 20 home runs, George, in that neighborhood, and drive in 105 to 115 based on the numbers in the first half.
And the fact that in spring training you would have wondered whether Todd Helton would even be eligible, be ready to play because of the back surgery.
Hey, he's running over catchers now. He's diving left and right. He's hitting the ball over the wall. What else do you want him to do?
Catch a little better at first.
Yeah, he's really failed in that level, in that area. 1 and 2 on Helton. Well, some of the milestones that are not far away. 319 home runs, and he'll tie himself with his good buddy, tie up his good buddy Vinny Castilla. A couple of hits from Johnny Bench. Wow.
See, that's
Frank
what's
Thomas,
amazing.
495 doubles.
232nd ranked player with his hits. All right. Now think about that. How many baseball players have there been reach the major leagues since the very first game?
3 and 2 on Todd, and again it's rifled foul.
Since the start of the game, there's been over 16,000 players in the big leagues, and he's 232 and climbing.
Yeah, and
Think
climbing.
about that.
This ball is chopped toward first. Nick Johnson made a nice pickup, and Stammen gets over. Got one of those top spin ground balls, and had to bury his chest on it while it came up.
Well, he's got a very good glove at first base. He always has that. Johnson does a good job. He's got 7 errors on the year. 3 of those have been throwing. Typically, he picks the ball very well at first base.
Brad Hopp walked his first time.
Hop comes to the plate. Everybody on the right side of the infield saying, please don't do just that.
That's over the bag. Fair ball. And Stammen again gets to the bag. What a play by Nick Johnson. That took a double away from Brad.
No, he really did. But you see defensively at the start of this, he was hugging the line so far over. See where he is. And he's very agile. There's 1, 2 steps, and he dives. Able to pick that right into the glove, regain his balance, and then a little flip right up perfectly to retire Brad Hopp.
2 outs. Troy Tulowitzki at the plate. Troy swung at the first pitch in the first inning and grounded into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. He takes strike 1. He was 3 for 13 in the Arizona series. The only shortstop who has more home runs in baseball. All-star Hanley Ramirez of the Marlins. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's called the strike. 2 and 2. That wasn't the best curveball you'll ever see. Stewart hoping to get a chance here in the 4th. And it's 3 and 2. And a ground ball, why not, to Nick Johnson, and a flip to Stammen. We've seen that somewhere. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1 if you're scoring at home. That was the 4th inning for the Rockies. They lead it 1-0. Baseball on FSN is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers. Right now, buy any new Hyundai, get up to $5,500 in savings. America's best warranty in the Hyundai Assurance Plan. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Well, my mind started to go a minute ago, Drew, whenever you said Helton with a chance for 110 RBIs, and to try to think of what kind of year that would be. Last year, there was 29 guys that had 100 RBIs or more in the game. 29 in the game out of what, 630 players probably? I mean, they played on a regular roster every day. Atkins had 99 a year ago.
And that led the Rockies.
But, so it's still a pretty good rarity to hit 100.
Yeah. 0-2 on Guzman. Do you remember a few years ago, George, after the trade from Minnesota, actually a couple years after the trade from Minnesota, he had just a miserable year. It was his first year after, I should correct that, after leaving the Twin Cities. He had 219. Then the next year, he doesn't play. He had shoulder surgery. Pops this one up. Since then, he's been a 320-plus hitter.
He's one of those young players, just a great player at the big league level. More than adequate shortstop. 10 errors on the season for Guzman. But it's a guy that swings the bat. He's not going to hit a tremendous amount of long balls, but he's a good guy. I mean, he's hitting 5th in their lineup because of the average more than anything else.
Well, last year he hit 316. The year before he hit 328. He had 1 year with the Twins in which he hit over 300. It's Josh Bard, and Josh lines a base hit to left. Now, Bard's been swinging the bat well. And with one out, he's aboard for Ronnie Belliard. All right, our Affleck trivia question again, looking for the only player to hit 40 or more home runs in each of the last 5 seasons. He's in the ballpark tonight. He takes up a lot of room in the ballpark. Takes up a lot of room if he's on the bench. Adam Dunn. 46, 40, 40, 40, 40. How many do you think he's going to hit this year, George?
40. But I think if people were listening, you kind of gave that away in the first when he came up. But I caught it. So I knew the answer, but I didn't want to say anything.
He's one of 22 active with 300 home runs in the air to center field. Dexter has it. Belliard retired.
So really all you need in the game so far is second, short to pitcher and Dexter.
Doug did a little Doug did a little research. None of the top 11 active home run hitters are in the All-Star game this year. Griffey's not in it. A-Rod's not going. He's hitting in the 230s. Jim Thome's not going. Manny Ramirez looked like he was going for a while until the suspension, and he still finished 7th in the voting of the fans. Gary Sheffield's not going. Carlos Delgado's hurt. He's not going. Chipper Jones not going. Jason Giambi's not going. Vladdy Guerrero, he's got 3 home runs. He's not going. Jim Edmonds not going. Andrew Jones with Texas
Jim Edmonds
not going.
Even playing?
I was going to say, I don't think Edmonds is active.
He was with the Cubs last year. You think he didn't retire? So he's kind of doing the Barry Bonds thing. I'm not retired, but nobody will sign me.
1-2 on Stammen. He's next to the 300 club, Big Pappy, and he's starting to hit home runs. He's got 298. Here's the 1-2. Angel Hernandez said it was low. 2-2.
Stammen's one of those guys we talked about. He swings the bat pretty well. You mentioned a minute ago. He's averaged down to 273, but he's got 2 RBIs in the short time that he's been in the big leagues.
He bounces this one to Barmes. And another strong inning for Jason Marquis. Kind of pitching like an all-star, isn't he?
Averaging less than 12 an inning pitches-wise. That's pretty good.
Rockies up 1-0. Time for your XL Energy fun fact. How about that? Vinny Castilla is represented in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown because of his time with the Washington Nationals. We go back to August the 14th, 2005. Vinny hit the first home run at RFK Stadium when the Nationals came back into the big leagues. There had been no baseball in Washington for 33 summers. He hit one out in that opener at RFK. He went 3 for 3, nearly hit for the cycle. It was his 305th home run. That's our fun fact from XL Energy. And Drew, you mentioned it. The next homer that Todd Helton hits ties Vinny at 320 all time, guys.
You know, I'll tell you something else. Thank you, Mark, about Vinny Castilla and RFK Stadium. When he was playing there, George, remember when we rolled in there, nobody was hitting balls out of there. I mean,
no, nobody.
The Rockies played a 3-game series there, folks. I'm not exaggerating. Nobody hit one of the warning track on either team. Here's Ian Stewart. And in talking to Vinny, then he said, you know, the gaps are not right. It says 380 in the gaps. He goes, there's no way it's only 380. He goes, I've hit some balls a ton out there, and they die on the track. He said, I'm telling you, they measured them wrong. Well, sure enough, finally, somebody went out and measured them a couple of weeks after the Rockies departed town. The gaps were 395.
I like that. Being a pitcher, I would, right? Bigger the better. Well, you know, with the left-handed hitters that come up for the Rockies, if you look at Belliard's positioning defensively, he is easily 4 or 5 steps out onto the grass. And the reason behind that, it is a smooth transition dirt to grass here at Coors Field. There's not a lip. What it does by allowing him to play that deep, respect the power, pull power of guys like Ian Stewart, Hop, Helton, guys that are going to scald the baseball, it allows him to have more range. And there's the transition I'm talking about, grass to dirt. There's not a lip of any kind. So he knows he's going to get a true hop. It allows him to play deeper.
Not going to help him there, though. That's ripped to right for a single. And Ian Stewart is aboard.
But you won't see him do that if Dexter Fowler's up. He'll probably cheat up a little bit because of the push bunt to respect the ability that Dexter has to do that.
You know, going back, Ronnie Belliard's always been one of those guys that with certain players will be out on the outfield grass. Not every second baseman likes to do that, but Belliard's comfortable.
And he's not able to do that. Right-handed hitter up. Plus, you've got the double play in a position now. So obviously, you got to come in on the grass area to try to turn the double play.
Chris hit the ball in the air to right field his first time. Rockies with 4 hits. The Nationals with 2. 2-0. The Nationals will play 4.5 games in Houston after this series. And you say, what are you talking about? They had a suspended game in the 11th inning. Foul back in Washington. They've gotten a ton of rain in the Mid-Atlantic region, especially the first couple of months of the season. And they're going to finish the game on Thursday. But there's some issues, George.
Yes.
Well, Elijah Dukes is on first base in the game that's suspended. So he's in AAA.
So how do they do that?
Well, I guess they put Nigel Morgan out there, and then they get a nice big bonus. Joel Hanrahan was the last pitcher used by Washington. If they were to win the game, because it'll be it's bottom. I think it's the bottom of the 11th. If they win the game, Hanrahan gets the win. He's with the Pittsburgh Pirates now.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard for a lot of things to transpire in the game, obviously, that happened before.
Right. Jesus Flores was around then. He's not now. He's hurt, which means Josh Bard's going to have to go in the ball game. He'll be the only catcher, I believe, available. There's some strange things with that suspended game for Manny Acta, who was one of the youngest. Oh, boy. 22-1 now. Philadelphia over Cincinnati. Doug, you may have to check, see if a position player's hurling right now for the Reds. There goes Stewart. Ground ball to third. Zimmerman did not get the out there. It's worth the gamble because Belliard was able to get the out at first on Iannetta.
Belliard has very, very quick hands. I think that's why they took the chance. And Zimmerman just looked at him, kind of shrugged his shoulders. Why not? And Belliard said, well, let me tell you why, because I could have gotten planted into left field. But because of his hand speed at second base, this is why they did it. The ball was hit extremely hard. I mean, that was quick from Zimmerman to get it over to him. But it allowed Stewart to get there, who can run a little bit. 6 stolen bases. He's going to come into the bag. Just beat that throw to the bag. See a quick exchange, then the arm strength of Belliard over to first.
Praise, just like we suspected. Paul Janish is in the ball game now for the Reds. Number 7 in your book. Shortstop by trade.
Not pretty.
Carlos Gonzalez takes strike 1. Gonzalez crushed the ball to deep left center his first time up, and Nyjer Morgan made a great running catch, so about 405 feet from home plate. One out, Stewart at second, and it's fouled off. 0-2. Watch this catch again by Nyjer Morgan.
It's all about break, and then when he gets the break on the baseball, very shallow in center field, and then takes off to the races and actually got there and did a little bit of a basket catch on the baseball. This kid can fly. Speed can make up so much when it comes to mistakes in the outfield or balls that are hit hard into the gaps.
You were talking about how poor, George, the defense has been this year for Washington. Yet tonight, Nick Johnson's made a couple of outstanding plays. Nyjer Morgan made that terrific catch.
2 double plays turned in the ball game. One of them a line drive right at Guzman.
0-2 on Gonzalez.
Let's not forget that the All-Star voting is not quite over with yet. From July 5th to July 9th, you can vote for the 32nd player for each league roster. Go to ColoradoRockies.com and cast your All-Star game final vote for the final 2 All-Star spots for the game in St. Louis.
Sinkers away, 2-2.
Anticipating Gonzalez to pull the baseball, Guzman's the guy that has to hold the runner on at second. Belliard, you can see, back to that familiar position at second base, a couple of feet deep into the outfield. Just allows a lot more range at second.
This ball is hit hard. Guzman bobbles it. He will never get Gonzalez. Rockies have 2 on with 1 out. Much better at bat, George, for Carlos Gonzalez. 2 good at bats tonight.
Well, he took a good swing on the baseball and tried to go to the opposite field with it instead of pulling that hard sinker or curveball to the left side. It stayed up in the strike zone at 78 miles an hour. Yeah, pretty tough error, too. Guzman's going to pick up his 11th there on the Hyundai cam, as he was going to pick this baseball deep in the hole with a left-handed swinger and pretty good speed. Anytime you have a good hitting pitcher like you do with Marquis, you always got to be aware of the slug bunt, because he can handle the bat. You got to be aware how you set things up defensively because of how he handles the bat.
Oh, and 1. By the way, your pitcher, George, for Cincinnati, Janish, 1 inning, 6 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and a punch out. The guy who punched out is going to get rode pretty hard tonight.
Well, that's the reason he plays shortstop. Not a very good conversion.
Yeah, Marquis, who's so good with the bat, fails to get the bunt down twice. And now I'll try to drive him in, you assume, swinging away, or maybe not. Staring down Richie Dower.
Jim Tracy has put on the bunt 3 straight times with a pitcher just to accomplish what he wants accomplished, and that is runners at second and third, regardless who's at the plate. Usually this is where you get a curveball, which he did at 78, or a slider from a pitcher. Bunt situations, you're going to get a fastball belt high and above to try to get you on the bottom half of the ball to pop it up.
Now, if you're wondering, why with Marquis swinging the bat well does Jim Tracy put the bunt on? This guy's got a decent sinker ball, and he doesn't want to see a double play ground ball inning over. He wants to see Dexter Fowler hit. Swung on and missed by Marquis. That's the second out. So Fowler will hit with runners at first and second. That's just the second strikeout for Stammen. Fowler was caught looking his first time up, reached on a fielder's choice in the third, and then stole second, his 16th stolen base of the year. Big gap in right center field. Just one run in the game. Rockies have it. They got it in the first inning. Barnes a single, Todd Helton a double. And this ball's lifted down the left field line and out of play. Chip Tracy made a good point before the ball game. And that's the fact that this club just has to go and keep playing the way they've been playing. Keep pitching the way they've been pitching. And you can't look at the opponent, the record of series, homestands. You got to do what they did for a month there. Play it one at bat at a time, you know, one inning at a time, etc. It is a cliche, but it applies.
Don't worry about everybody else and what they're doing. Just take care of yourself.
In the air to right center field. Willingham camped underneath. The Rockies will leave 2 on in the 5th. And we'll go to the 6th inning. Still a 1-0 ball game. Quote of the day. Crowd, this isn't a crowd, it's a focus group. Fran Healy, when he was broadcasting the Mets on attendance at a Montreal Expos game at Stade Olympique. Nigel Morgan, comebacker Marquis, grabs it, flips to first, 1 out. Yeah, Marquis been busy. That's third ball he's had come right back to him. Nick Johnson will come up. Johnson's 0 for 2.
Key part of that inning, why get the leadoff man with Morgan and his speed? You just shut down the running game. He's very successful in stealing bases. His 21 stolen bases. He's been caught 10 times, but his speed puts you in a position to where now he's on first base. Huge out. 1-0 ball game. Every pitch you make, you stay with what you're doing, attacking the strike zone. He's done just that. He's only thrown 61 pitches in the game, just 16 balls.
There's not another guy in their lineup, George, is going to run.
But you have to be prepared to make sure you get that leadoff man. Anytime you're in a one-run ball game, you just kind of just start to slow down everything the opposing manager's trying to do.
The Rockies and FSN have teamed up for the 20 games of green. And we want to hear from you. Share your tip for helping the environment for a chance to have it read by Jeff Francis during the Rockies pregame report Friday night at 6:30. Email your green tips to Rocky Mountain at fsninsider.net today. 2 gone. That'll bring up Ryan Zimmerman, an infield hit and a ground ball to second. That's a strike. The only 2 hits of the ball game, the Zimmerman infield hit and a Josh Bard line drive to left. Bard's hit came in the 5th. There are 2 outs in the 6th inning. You tip your hat to Craig Stammen also. Rockies had never faced him before, and he's done a good job.
4 hits given up in the ballgame. A couple of those hit hard. The one Stewart hit to right field. And then, of course, Helton's ball in left center field, the double to drive in the only run in this game.
Zimmerman lines it foul. Zimmerman 4th in the league with 55 runs scored. And he owns a home run against Jason Marquis. Early on this year, he had a 30-game hit streak. The slider misses. One area he has not excelled this year, George, is with runners in scoring position, just a .218 average. Here's the 2-2. And this is fouled back on pitch number 67 on the evening from Marquis. That is not many with 2 outs in the 6th inning. 67 pitches. On the ground on one hop to short. Tulowitzki to help, and that's all for the Nationals. Another 1-2-3 inning for Jason Marquis. Rockies will try to add to their total. Clint Barmes, Todd Helton, Brad Hop next half. Coors Light freeze cam. Look at this play by Nick Johnson, taking a double away from Brad Hop. Our frost brewed Coors Light freeze cam. Nick Johnson made 3 good plays that inning. Well, there's a happy birthday suite. First pitch to Clint Barmes misses. Ball 1.
Who's that guy?
Well,
who's this guy right here? Huh?
That's the birthday
right
boy.
That's right. Isn't that him?
Yeah, that's my number 2 son.
Yeah, and there's the big brother back here. Where's Gabe?
Yeah, Gabe,
Where's Gabe go?
This ball's hit deep to left. We got to worry about this first.
Okay.
Over the head of Adam Dunn. Barnes digging for second. He's got himself a line double. Yeah, turned around. They're watching. They're all fired up.
Yeah,
Zach, happy 9th birthday,
Gabe?
buddy. I love you.
Where'd Gabe
He's
go?
in the yellow shirt on the left.
Well, they got to get Gabe in here in a little while. All right, Gabe, the little one. Here it is. Sinker on the inner half of the plate. The open side. Well, you're not going to see it really here, but his front side opens so quick to get to that pitch on the inner half, meaning that hip clears, the leg clears. The hands get through the middle so fast. Watch how quick his hands get to the baseball from the hitting area. Extremely quick on the inner half, out over the head, down the left field line, and a leadoff double here in the 6th.
And the right guy up behind him, Todd Helton. He's got the only RBI tonight. find it interesting, George, defensively, how teams always align who don't see the Rockies every day. You know, they're focused on reports. The teams inside the NL West, I think, always have a better feel. They're playing Todd as a pull hitter against a guy that doesn't throw real hard. But Todd, as we all know, he wears out left field. This ball line to Johnson. Another double play. Yep. Man, that's the second time on a line drive tonight a Rockies player's been doubled off second base. It happened to Fowler earlier.
I tell you, Nick Johnson did a great job on this baseball when he caught it, because he led Guzman just perfectly over the bag. He threw the ball. Here's a line shot timed, but he threw this ball as Guzman was coming to the bag. See how far away he was, but your aim is right over the top. Barman's like, oh, man. No, let me get back here. Didn't happen. You see a little disgust on his face.
That kills. Got a leadoff double in a 1-0 ball game, and now you're looking at 2 outs and nobody on. (2-0) on Brad Hopp. As we take a look at the Firestone league leaderboard, Brad among the league leaders in extra base hits. Got 13 home runs. He's got a slew of doubles, 26 of them. 41 extra base hits. 3-0 on Hopp. 85 pitches in the game for Craig Stammen. It's called a strike. Three and two. You know, the Nationals have been playing pretty good baseball over the last 2.5 weeks. They've basically been a 500 team, and that's included winning series against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. It's a ground ball to Belliard.
That ball wasn't hit hard, but you can tell by his range with the ability to go over and get that.
They played well against Toronto, against Atlanta.
Coors Field Rockies still leading it 1-0 here as we're going top 7. Let's get you the This Date in History, brought to you by Dex. On this day in 1933, first ever All-Star game in the big leagues at Comiskey Park in Chicago. Now, originally, it was planned as part of the World's Fair in Chicago that year. The AL beat the NL 4-2. I'm out here in right field because Babe Ruth did indeed hit a home run, a 2-run shot to lead the American League. And that game was the brainchild, as this is ripped down the line foul, of a guy by the name of Arch Ward. He was the Chicago Tribune sports editor, and to this day, if you win the MVP award in the All-Star game, you win the Arch Ward trophy. And George, it's in St. Louis this year. Have you been up in the Arch?
Yes, I have.
I figured you had. I have not.
Yes, I have. As
not
a young kid, not going back again.
Oh.
Actually,
Adam Dunn hits it deep to right. Get down. It does. It's off the wall, and it kicks back toward the infield, and Dunn shuts it down at second base. Just the third hit of the night against Jason Marquis, but it's a leadoff double for Adam Dunn in a 1-0 game.
Yeah, look where the location of this baseball stayed, right up into the strike zone. He tried to get up under this thing and had a little bit of a hump back to it. That kept in the ballpark. He actually soft jogged. I think he thought that ball was out of the yard, because once he hit first base, and Hal Hopp had a long way to come get this baseball. I'm not saying he could have gotten to third, but it might have been a close play at third base.
Well, you remember a few years ago, Dunn used to steal 15-20 bases a year. This ball pulled in the hole, a base hit. Dunn had to see it through, a stop at third. So now it's first and third for Washington and nobody out. And again, there's not a lot of room for error when you're talking about a 1-0 ball game. And the Rockies played a couple of these over the weekend with Arizona, and you know how they turned out.
Kuzman 266 with runners in scoring position.
He handles the bat. I mean, this is about the last guy you want up in this situation.
Well, you're going to set your middle infield back, take the double play. You feel confident enough this offense is going to get a run at some point in this game. So you're going to go back in the middle, tight on the corners, try to get a double play ball.
He takes a strike. Guzman, generally speaking, is going to get the ball in play. 31-year-old. Comebacker, and they got a play on down. Out at third base. Great play by Jason Marquis.
Well, you think about it, the Rockies have been doubled off second twice in the game tonight with runners in scoring position. This one, Marquis, you got a big man at third that got the motor going towards the plate and tried to regroup and get back to third. Just didn't get it done. Disappointed, he shakes his head. Here's the one hopper right back. He took 2 steps going towards the plate. The snap throw. What I liked what Marquis did more than anything, he gathered himself to make sure this was a very accurate and strong throw right on top of the play. Lance Barksdale able to play as he watches Stewart apply the tag to Dunn.
Not out of the woods yet. Josh Bard, who's been swinging the bat very well at the plate. He's 1 for 2. Marquis would love to do one of those super sinkers here, get a double play ground ball.
Bard, one of the highest average, 10 for 31, 323 with runners in scoring position.
And it's an 0-2 count now on Bard. Hitting .339 since June 1st, including 6 doubles, a home run, and 10 RBIs. On a personal level, I'm real happy for Josh. Guys, still lives here in Denver. Used to work out in the offseason at Coors Field. Does a lot of work with his older brother Mike. He's battled a lot of injuries, George. You know, he had those wrist injuries for a while. He's got a bad groin injury right now, so if he hits it on the ground, it's almost a lock to be a double play. He can't run real well. But this is pulled in the hole for a base hit. Willingham around third does not get the green light. Great throw by Brad Hopp. A strike to Chris Iannetta.
Ball hit extremely hard to right field by Josh Bard. Again, look at the location of this pitch. Up in the strike zone above the belt line. Bard, a very good high ball hitter. Shot this ball through the right side. Hopp charges fast. And then the throw, typical Brad Hopp. One hop right into the glove of Chris Iannetta. Watch as this ball comes right to the home plate area. No tail, no moving. Ball stayed right on line and then received by Iannetta.
Ronnie Belliard at the plate. Bases loaded, 1 out. Rockies up 1-0, and it's fouled off. Belliard, a very good bat this year. This is the 8th at bat against Marquis with the bases loaded. The opposition 0 for 7 so far this year.
Well, Belliard 3 for 24, 125 average with runners in scoring position. Everything seems to favor Jason Marquis and the Rockies right now.
Willie Harris has come out on deck for the pitcher, and this is popped up, foul, and out of play. So now it's an 0-2 count. If you're Marquis, you're obviously thinking punch out, and for him that's generally a slider. Or, George, if he could somehow get a super sinker down and in.
The only thing you're worried about throwing a slider, you're slowing the ball down velocity-wise. Maybe a hard cutter out of the strike zone at 87, 88. But if you back it down to 83, 84, and you don't get on top of it, it becomes a pretty hittable pitch.
Well, it did go away. As you suggested, it was a slider. 1-2. Talking about the depth of this Washington lineup, Belliard's always been a tough out. Ground ball to short. Chance for two. There's one. There's two. They got a turn. No damage done. And the Rockies and Jason Marquis hold on to that 1-0 advantage. First and third, nobody out, and the Nationals fail to score. Rockies clinging to a 1-0 lead. 3 hits in that last inning, including a double, no damage done. It's time to get you up to speed with the AT Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Troy Tulowitzki in the bottom of the 7th. Jason Marquis, like Houdini, worked out of that jam with a little help from his friends. Well, Tulowitzki and Barmas, a nice turn to end the inning.
Thought it all went as planned. Bases loaded, ground ball double play to short, double play.
And now the league is 0 for 8 with the bases loaded in 2009 against Marquis. Here's the 1-1. That's outside on pitch number 91 from Stammen tonight, who's done a terrific job.
Well, I think that's kind of what's gotten lost into the ball game. He's given up 1 run. That was all the way back in the first inning on a double by Helton after a single by Barnes. Well, don't forget the next hot dog night at the ballpark comes on July 7th when the Nationals are in town. By the way, that's tomorrow, Drew, if you didn't know, Tuesday night. It's also email the booth night. The first 10,000 fans through the gates will receive a coupon for a $1 hot dog, courtesy of Hebrew National. Buy your tickets. Just go on the computer, ColoradoRockies.com, or stop by one of the ticket outlets.
Strike 3 on the outside corner. This kid has made pitches tonight. That is the 3rd strikeout for Stammen. It'll bring up Ian Stewart. He has one of the 5 Rockies hits. And that ball comes back across the inside corner for a strike. Talking earlier about the Rockies team average in the 250s right now, tied with the Phils for most runs scored in the National League. 2 years ago, when they had the great second half pitching and offensively, George, they led the National League in ERA in the All-Star break till the end of the season. Of course, went to the World Series. That year as a club, they hit 280. This team, I reiterate something we discussed earlier, they're not going to hit in the 250s over the course of the year.
I wouldn't think so. I think if this ball club is going to get a lot better than that with Marquis on the mound in a 1-0 ball game, you hope to put another tally on the board right now. That's one nobody wants, folks. I'm telling you right now. You always hear
Nick Johnson's got to handle it.
Big league pop-up.
Now it's way up there and in foul ground. Johnson could have had a club sandwich before that thing came down. 2 outs.
97 pitches in the ball game. That's a career high for him. The most before that was 95. He just got a little quick.
Windshield chipped or cracked. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelite.com. Chris Iannetta 0 for 2. And this ball's a pop up to center field. Niger Morgan has it, and Stammen showing stamina. 7 innings. And money. 2 more ball games with the Nationals. No television on Wednesday. And then Chipper Jones, you've heard of him, and the Atlanta Braves come to town for a 4-game set before the All-Star break. Rockies resume play in San Diego after the break on Thursday. They'll have 4 out at Petco. Willie Harris will pinch hit for Craig Stammen. So it's Willie Harris and then the top of the lineup. And that's in there for a strike. Jason Marquis with 82 pitches.
Looking for a base runner more than maybe a guy to hit the ball out of the ballpark when you start to look at their bench. They have a big right-handed bat there in Austin Kearns, but obviously he's not having the kind of year Maniac had anticipated, hitting 196.
Willie Harris plays quite a bit. He's got 150 at bats. 3-1.
The left-hander, Joe Beimel, warming up, the former Dodger. Preparation to come in. As the left-hander Gonzalez. And if all things go the way they probably are, Bob Apodaca on the phone to get streak going, you'll see a pinch hitter off the bench for the Rockies.
On the ground, foul. Helton's guarding the line. And he got over there.
Late in the ball game, you guard the line, give up the single, not the double. But defensively right now, too, Clint Barmer's just a shade over. Dexter Fowler straight away in center field. See Helton tight to that line at first base.
Three and two on Harris, and again it's down the line, foul.
Really cheating on the fastball, so it's a good indication too to the right side of that infield. Just move over a little bit more. There's Rincon, the right-hander, Embry, the left-hander, starting to get loose. Both guys have pitched well in most recent ball games.
And that's for this inning if there's trouble. George mentioned Houston Street in the 9th inning. Toward the middle. Barmes. What a play by Clint Barmes. And you know Jim Tracy's smiling in the dugout. He loves to talk about his middle infield of Troy Tulowitzki and Clint Barmes. And he finally remembers a pretty good shortstop second base act he had in L.A.
Now this guy has so much range, and then the arm strength, the shortstop arm at second base allows him to be able to make these plays and be able to make the very accurate, strong throws to Todd Helton.
He had Cesar Izturis and Alex Cora on that division-winning 0-4 team. Drag bunt by Morgan, but it goes foul.
Exciting young player to watch, Morgan, a guy that reminds you a little bit of a young Juan Pierre with the bunt. He's got a little more pop in his bat than Pierre. But he's a guy that can go get a lot of balls in the outfield, throws a little bit better than Pierre, handles the bat well at the plate.
That's who Jim Tracy compared him to in the dugout this afternoon. Here's the 0-1. It's a base hit. And now you got to watch Morgan, who has 21 stolen bases, including one in the 3rd inning. Tonight's high-speed pitch is brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet. Stammen's hit 90. Jason Marquis at 93.
See, this is where do you go get the left-hander and bring him in, try to get the double play ball. Do you allow because Marquis' pitch count's just at 90. He's been able to turn the ball over an awful lot. You just don't want to make a mistake, get late in the ball game. Sometimes sinker ballers start to get a little tired. The ball comes up in the strike zone. So it can become a concern of the manager.
I think what he's accomplished lately, really all year, Jim Tracy's, and he's demonstrated this since taking over. He has a lot of belief in his rotation. He's going to let Marquis go and try to get a ground ball on Nick Johnson.
22 of 29 first pitch strikes tonight. 26 of 29 the other day in a complete ball game against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
George, I'm sure in your career, there were times you peeked over in the dugout, whether it was Billy Martin or Tom Kelly, and you figured maybe they're coming to get me. And if they're sitting on their hands, you say, well, okay, he believes in me. That's good.
Well, you do, absolutely. I think, too, a lot of it.
That's a base hit.
That's the scary part of it. All of a sudden, you get that matchup like you think, and you want that double play ball. And now you got first and second and just one out, and you're in the heart of their order.
On an 0-2 pitch, Nick Johnson lines it to right. And so another one of those situations. There haven't been many tonight against Jason Marquis. Last inning, he wiggled out of a bases loaded one-out deal on a 6-4-3 double play. And now he's got Ryan Zimmerman, the only all-star for the Nationals, at the plate. Their 3-hole hitter.
A lot of short innings pitched for Jason Marquis. You can see this, no more than 16 in any one inning. It's at 13 right now here in the 8th. 93 total on the night.
Zimmerman has hit it on the ground 3 times. He has an infield hit. Rockies now been out hitting the game 7-5. The only run came back in the bottom of the first. Barmes a single, Helton a double. That's it. And this is chopped to third. One play, and that's the first. So there'll be 2 outs. You have Adam Dunn at the plate with Josh Willingham behind him. George, how do you play this?
Well, for
first
me,
base open.
Well, the winning run's at second base regardless. I'm going to Jim Tracy. I'd say go ahead and walk him and go against the right-hander Willingham.
Yeah, you'd rather go right on right and not deal with Mr. Dunn.
Well, he just hit a ball off the wall too.
Yeah,
and that's fresh in your mind. The double he hit just a minute ago in the 7th inning to lead off the 7th inning. Not only that, Willingham's getting ready to come up to the plate. Josh Willingham, I know he has 9 home runs, but with the bases loaded, 2 for 8 on the season with 2 outs.
So here's the 4th wide one.
All the fans of the gates on Thursday, July 9th, will receive a 2009 Colorado Rockies team poster. Saw him take that picture one afternoon at 1:30 before night game. Purchase your tickets to the game versus the Atlanta Braves at any Rockies ticket outlet or go online, ColoradoRockies.com. Everybody that comes to the yard on Thursday, tonight game, July 9th, will get a poster.
So the base is loaded for the 2nd consecutive inning. Willingham up there, 2 outs. Rockies up 1-0. And that's a strike on the inside corner, man. He came right after him with a heavy sinker on the inside corner.
92 miles an hour with the sinker in. You don't allow a big guy to extend arms. You're trying to jam people. That's what he just did on a previous batter in Zimmerman.
Just off the corner. One ball, 1 strike. Outfield straight up for Willingham. That's a strike. It's 1-2.
I had a little conversation with Angel Hernandez. I don't know why he ran that wiffle ball sinker back to the outside corner. Started off the plate, came back to the corner. Thought it was a good call. Angel's been calling it the entire night. Not going to change any 8.
Tie up the hands, George. Inside with the sinker.
I mentioned earlier, one thing you don't want to do is let him get extended and drive the baseball. They're going to go down and away from him. Maybe it could be the hard slider. Another fastball. At 93, Marquis went and got a little extra.
Two and 2. Crowd alive. And again, the Rockies nursing a 1-0 lead, top of 8. In the air, right field.
Hop lost it in the air. Threw out both arms.
He's got it now.
Started when that ball left the bat. He's got to throw out both arms. It's still kind of dusk here at the ballpark.
Manny Apta has seen his team leave 6 on in the last 2 innings. See, applauding the catch by Brad Hopp, instructing Bob Apodaca to get Houston Street up, and then he says that's it. And now he sees his starting pitcher Jason Marquis in the dugout. Job well done. You see Marquis try to say, I'm okay. But in this situation, with a one-run lead,
well, more importantly, too,
a lot of traffic the last 2 innings.
Well, more importantly, what Street's done as a closer, 19 of 20. Yeah. There's no question. You just send him out there, just like he did when he had Gagne in L.A. You just run him out there and say, here you go, finish it up for him.
Joe Beimel comes on out of the Washington bullpen. Carlos Gonzalez looks at a breaking pitch high. This call to the pen is brought to you by Comcast digital home phone service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast.
Surprisingly, this guy was out on the open market for a while and didn't sign till extremely late. Was looking for a multi-year contract and ended up in Washington as a late sign. Beimel's a guy that can run a fastball up to 90, pretty comfortable, 85 to 87. Utilizes a changeup and curveball that will peak out at about 75 on the breaking ball and work it to that outside corner. There's the fastball at 88.
2 balls and a strike on Carlos Gonzalez, who's had 2 good at-bats tonight. Deep drive to left center, a very nice running catch by Niger Morgan, and then a hard smash to short where he reached on an error by Guzman. And it's 3-1. And on deck for the moment is Jason Marquis, though we showed you what transpired earlier. And of course, if Gonzalez reaches, Marquis may hit just a bunt. And that's foul. And Don Baylor, there's Beimel's numbers, 36th appearance. Slow start, been pitching much better of late. Down low, so Gonzalez with speed goes to first, leading off the bottom of the 8th inning. Marquis will be asked to move him along in some way, shape, or form.
Save your bench here in a one-run ball game. Pitcher handles the bat well. He didn't get the bunt down him a second ago. He's got pretty good speed at first base. Gonzalez has stolen 4 bases as yet. It has not been caught. Beimel's been pretty special. Let me tell you, for the Dodgers last year, 71 games, 5-1, 202 earned run average, 49 innings, specialist, walked 21 though.
Bat is pulled back, pitch missed, ball 1. And Marquis last time up had 2 failed attempts to sacrifice and then struck out. He had a base hit, a sharp single to right back in the 3rd inning. That is in there for a strike. 1-1. What you see on occasion, George, and it's a play you see collegiately a little bit more, the bunt and run.
Yeah, you don't see that at the big leagues very often. And really the reason why, if the bunt doesn't get down or it's a pop-up, you basically got double play ball. And more times than not, that's what you kind of see happens. Beimel, above average move to first base.
And Marquis didn't get the bunt down there. It's 1-2. That's unusual. I mean, Marquis is a guy normally that is going to be very good at that. And tonight he's 0 for 3. They're going to put it on again, I would assume. There's no way. I shouldn't say there's no way, but left on left, you would think he'll be bunting again. He shows it early. 2-2. And the last time when he got the 2 strikes with the right-hander up there who's not real nasty, he had him swinging away.
Nasty curveball punch out too.
He did get fanned on the breaking pitch, but left on left here with that run so important at first base.
And Marquis looked down too to make sure he wasn't out of the batter's box. He got way up in front of the. That's not what you want, obviously. And that's one of the reasons you don't run a bunt and run at times too.
Yeah. Good point. Well, let's check in again with Mark Stout with tonight's great Colorado Payback sideline report.
All right, Drew, we watched Jason Markey walk off. Of course, one of the 2 All-Stars for the Rockies. You'll hear from Jason Markey and Brad Hopp during Rockies All Access coming up on Thursday. I talked to Brad today and Jason. Jason grew up a Yankees fan, big All-Star Game fan. Of course, he loved Roger Clemens. In Brad Hopp's case, a guy from Texas, loved the Rangers. And when he was in high school, his favorite player, he told me, he loved Nolan Ryan, of course, an Ultimate All-Star, but his favorite player was a guy by the name of Rusty Greer, the left-hander that played in the outfield. It was his all-time favorite Rangers player, and you'll hear him talk a little bit more about going to the All-Star Game coming up on Rockies All Access this week, so check that out.
Well, Rusty Greer now runs a deer ranch, actually raises them down in Texas, and then coaches high school and a collegiate team mixed down in the Fort Worth area. Does a very good job. Fortunate back injury, ended a career much early, way too early for a pretty good player in Rusty Greer.
Fowler fouls this pitch off. It's 1-1. Rockies had a 3-0 lead yesterday, and unfortunately Ubaldo Jimenez couldn't make it hold up. He had a no-hitter with 2 outs in the 6th inning and then walked 2 batters, and Mark Reynolds tied it with a 3-run home run. Rockies had a 4-0 lead Saturday night with Aaron Cook on the hill, and that one got away from them. Lost 11-7. Trying to even this homestand at 2 apiece if they can hold on tonight. 1-0. And Fowler tried to push a bunt, and he missed the baseball. It's 1-2. Tremendous speed at first, tremendous speed at the plate.
Hard pitch to try to bunt, a changeup, because you're anticipating the fastball coming to you, and then the ball leaves the hand of a pitcher. It doesn't progress to the plate at that velocity, so then it makes it really, really hard to time it. And they add the movement to it also.
Huge jump for Gonzalez on the ground is short. 1 play, and that's first. So Gonzalez is in scoring position for Clint Barmas.
A little surprised. Bible has put a pretty good move over at first base, but see his foot cross behind the rubber. That prohibits him from going to first base. He must go to home plate under the rules, so that allowed Gonzalez to be able to get into second base. Let's not forget about the equipment drive that's coming up on July 11th and help the less fortunate child enjoy the game of baseball. All the equipment will be donated to local agencies throughout that support youth baseball programs in Denver. So drop off your new or used equipment at all the gates on July 11th.
Barmas has had a productive night. A single, and scored a run in the first. A line drive to short to turn into a double play in the 3rd, and a double off the left field wall in the 6th. So he has hit it on the button 3 times tonight.
Yeah, Barmas in his career against Beimel 0 for 3. Ooh, watch out, Todd.
A reminder that when the Rockies score 7 or more runs in any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell the next day. And do it between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. Get 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. 2-strike count on Barmas. Close. 1-2.
Yeah, there's that changeup. I mean, a lot of times he'll go to that because his 3/4 curveball, it seems to always want to break in on a flatter plane. More effective against a left-hander than a right-hander, so he uses the changeup to get away. Manny Acta's seen an awful lot of traffic on the base pass, particularly for his club.
Gonzalez takes off for 3rd, and it's pulled foul.
Trying to get through this inning. Not a bad play, particularly if you've got a guy out on the mound that throws an awful lot of breaking balls. And Beimel's one of those guys that does not. But if he has a tendency to throw a lot of wild pitches, that's when you want to try to get there with a couple of outs. He has only 1 wild pitch in 31 2/3 innings. You're going to score more than likely on a base hit.
Houston Street getting loose in the Rockies pen in the 9th inning. It's Guzman, Bard, and Belliard. 6, 7, and 8 in the Nationals lineup. Rockies would love to get Gonzalez to the plate. Outside, it's 2-2. Well, would be next. Barmes wastes that pitch.
Very deliberate windup. So that's what makes his changeup effective. It's a short arm action, and he crosses the body a little bit, hides the ball a little bit longer. So when the ball comes out of the hand, it appears to coming at you as a fastball. Then he just reaches out and pulls that window shade down, and when he does that, he decreases the velocity and creates the movement.
And Barmes swings through that heater up and away. Leadoff walk to Gonzalez. He would reach second. Would not advance him any further. The Rockies will try to make that one-run lead stand up with Houston Street. Rockies leading it 1-0, top of the ninth. Houston Street looking for his 20th save of the year. And then we'll turn it over to the post-game crew led by Tom Helmer. Tom?
Well, certainly after the game, we'll hear what the Rockies have to say about this one. We'll talk about Marquis 11, going for his 11th victory, certainly deserving of that all-star bid. And we'll talk about one and done, 1-0 games at Coors Field. There have been very few. We'll break down the numbers after the game. Drew?
All right, Tom, we'll look forward to that. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital home phone service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast. So Houston Street, who's just been marvelous as the Rockies closer. And you may recall, or you may have forgotten, that he had the job out of spring training and lost it, albeit briefly, to Manuel Corpus, and then got it back.
They took it away after 2 games.
He lost it.
Well, I understand, but after 2 games, there should have been a bigger leash left out there for Houston Street to be able to maintain his closer's role. Because to be quite honest with you, Brad Lidge has blown a few in Philadelphia, and they didn't take it away from him. He did left because of injury. Now back doing it again. Mariano Rivera, the same thing. If this is your closer, he's got the job. When given the job, he's shown obviously what he could do. 19 of 20 save opportunities. The important number for me is that one right there. The leadoff man, he has retired 30 of 39. That's over 75% that he has been able to retire. Anything above 70 is outstanding.
George, Clint Barmes had to make that play, and it's well out in the right center field. You may be saying, why is that? The reason is, with just a one-run advantage, the Rockies outfield extremely deep. And so Barmes had to venture well out into right center field. A good play by Clint. One gone. And that's a huge number, George. Another number that you really like with late inning guys, particularly ninth inning guys. He has 41 punch outs in 35+ innings.
Well, they need to strike people out. They're going to get into situations where they sometimes come in the late in the 8th, or get some traffic on base, where you go, well, man, I'd love a double play. Well, no, I'd like a punch out here, then a double play.
Josh Bard takes a strike on the outside corner. That was zipped knee high on the black at 93.
The key is he still strikes and he keeps the ball down in the zone.
Bard has 2 hits tonight. 2 for 3. And that was virtually the same place, just a tad lower, and thus a ball. 1-1. Bard has 1 home run, if that's wandering through your minds. Former Red Sox, former San Diego Padre, former Rockies farmhand on the ground to help. Todd puts the glove out. He's got it. 2 outs.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the only other time that Jason Marquis had won 11 ball games in the first half was back in 06. He was 11-6 in 06 in the first half. Jim Tracy looking for that last out. And here it's going to be, unless something bad happens. I don't think it's going to.
There it is. Houston Street nails it down in a handful of pitches. The Rockies win it 1-0. Only the 8th 1-0 game in the history of Coors Field. And the Rockies are 5-3 in those 1-0.